I'm losing money.
But you're only losing like just
0.
enough, 0 point something, right?
Only 2 months remaining, so we can run at a loss for 2 more months. It's fine. It's fine. That's how you run companies, right?
Hello everyone, this is the Stellaris console first look stream from us here at Paradox. We've not shown this game from our studios before, and it's like a really exciting thing for me at least. So I'm Dale, I'm the community manager on the Stellaris project, and with me is Aziz. What do you do?
I'm Aziz, I'm the associate producer, or well, I was the associate producer on Stellaris. I've since moved on to a different project. But I've been the one, together with another person, who's been working on the production side of the console edition of Stellaris.
Yep. So this is the console edition. I know a lot of people will be coming here already having seen the game, and a lot of you will also be here having never seen Stellaris before. So this is a conversion from the PC version that has been worked on by our friends and partners over at Tantalus. Aziz, what is Stellaris? I'm sure you've had this conversation many times.
That is true, and every time I forget what I'm actually supposed to say. But no, Stellaris is a grand strategy 4X game set in space, of course, where you play a small fledgling empire trying to find its place in the galaxy, and then you sort of take it from there. And being a 4X, you have the exploitation, exploration, expansion, and extermination, if you want. Yeah.
And then on top of that, we have also the grand strategy element, which is the bread and butter of what we do here at Paradox.
Exactly.
And we've been doing that for many years. So kind of combining those two games has been an interesting challenge. One of the questions that we were asked a lot of at Gamescom was, why are we doing this?
I mean, the obvious answer is, of course, to reach a wider audience, right? Yeah. Like, Stellaris is such a great game. People love it, and it seems almost obvious to bring it to more people than just the current players. Sure. It's a new market, right? Like, strategy games on console isn't really that much of a thing.
It's
much
not super
less
widespread.
A grand strategy. This is actually the first grand strategy game ever on console.
Yeah.
So I mean,
So we have high expectations for us. I'm seeing something in chat here. Premium David, Switch. This is not something we're thinking of doing just yet, but like, who knows what the future holds? Like. This is the first time we've tried to bring grand strategy to a console, and we think it's gone super well. So I think let's maybe show the people the game Stellaris, especially those who have never seen this before.
Stellaris being a sort of grand strategy game and being a game where you start from the beginning, we also have a lot of ways where you can choose where that beginning is, so you can always start in different ways. You have a lot of different portraits, for example, that you can use, and none of this actually affects gameplay. So this is mostly a thing we like to talk about is, for example, where is it? There it is. Like, you can play this cute little fox person here.
One of the best.
One of the best. It's very cute. You expect it to be friendly, but if you want to, you can just make it a murderous little animal.
And Garab for this is PlayStation and Xbox One.
Exactly. Probably the biggest part of what makes Stellaris such a great game is the customization and being able to play in so many different ways, and I thought that we could at least show that off before we jump into things.
And that's like Aziz was saying, you create your own story. Sorry, you can carry on. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna chat to the people watching. You can create your own story, so you, like Aziz says, you choose where your empire started, and in doing so, like, you can also decide what kind of story they have, and now we're picking racial traits. So these will kind of dictate what your leaders or your species will have as a general trait. So, do you want to maybe let people know what you're choosing, and do you have a strategy of what you want to build here?
I don't really have a strategy here. I'm thinking I'm just gonna look at these traits and just take what speaks to me in a way, and so also just show them off to the stream.
Yeah. So we have the strong feat, which is army damage and
minerals,
extra minerals.
So I'm probably gonna go for more of a like militaristic style. Show people some action, you know, instead of me trying to build my little empire, not bothering anyone else.
Just get straight into conflict.
Exactly. Hey, I'm a producer, what can I say?
As anyone who's ever played RPGs knows that naming a character is the hardest thing ever.
Yeah.
Imagine naming an empire and all of your population.
That's why I'm just randomizing, exactly. This is where the meat of it is, what your empire represents. Like what we did before was choosing just the traits of our people, like what are they good at,
almost the cosmetic and you know how they react to things, but this is how your empire will interact with others in the galaxy.
You can be either a militarist or a pacifist. You can never really be both at the same time, because that wouldn't make much sense.
It's two sides of the same coin, or it's like the opposites to each other. Do you have a favorite setup normally? I mean, when you're playing both on PC and on console, do you have a favorite?
So the way I play Stellaris is that I don't really go for the min-maxi that most people do. I just like to sort of role play.
So you like to do what I do, which is like every time I play, every time I create a new empire, I try something different.
Exactly.
That I've never tried before.
But I do that with a lot of empires, but I always fall back on spiritualists, because I just like the sort of the story around that.
So you can design the flag sigil in the middle with the color scheme and some patterns in the background, and then that gives further identity to your empire.
You can also choose how your ships look. These are all based on the phenotype, but you can always just choose whatever you like. I like the reptilian ships. So.
I've got to say, I'm a bit of a avian or mammalian kind of guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, you're allowed to be wrong, but you know. All right, so this is our empire.
Yep, and then once you've created everything, it gives you the summary of what you've created, and if you're not happy with how something looks, you can go back and change things, tweak here and there. You can even add a biography, and I think this is one of the cooler parts. And to those of you watching who have already seen Stellaris and already play, you will notice that this is an older build with a selection of the weapons. This is 1.7.
The reason that we chose 1.7 wasn't that we sat down like a week ago and said, what patch of Stellaris should we make for the console? This has been a project that's been in development for a very long time, and a lot of the work that's gone into just making sure that the interface works well with a controller is mind-boggling. But Tantalus has done such a great job, which you'll see soon.
I mean, and that's been one of the bigger challenges, right? Trying to get this game to work on a controller. Most people said that when we first opened up our booth at Gamescom, people were like, it just can't be done.
I mean, like I said before, the way you can play Stellaris, it's like there's so many different aspects to it, and one of them is, of course, the empire creation, but also the galaxy that you start in. So you can choose how big it is and like the shape of it. These things won't matter too much, but I mean, it does affect like playtime. Like if I play on a small galaxy, then of course it's gonna finish faster, because.
I mean, you're going to be the 4x element of exploring and expanding will be on a smaller like playing field. Of course, we expect that to be quicker, but I mean that still takes a heck of a long time.
Oh yeah, it does. This is a game you sit down for the long run. This is not something you sit down for like 10 minutes.
Sure. Just wanted to touch on Iron Man mode for those who have never played Stellaris as well, or any of our other games. Because Iron Man mode means something a little bit different in like games like Dark Souls and things like this.
Oh yeah.
So it's not if your empire fails, you completely die. It's more the fact that you can't. You don't choose to save, so that you can't go back and keep redoing certain things and kind of gaming the system. So you can only have autosaves, and you can only progress forward. So every decision you make, you kind of have to stick with it. But the beauty of that is Stellaris teaches you how to get out of those mistakes, and it won't affect you too much in the long run. At least I haven't had an issue like that yet.
No. And it's also the only way to get achievements. Like
yes.
If you're an achievement hunter, then you have to play like that.
You have to play on Iron Man mode.
This is our Empire, who's just discovered space travel, basically.
Yeah. So it's basically the Empire has just discovered FTL alongside everyone else in the galaxy, as if some divine entity has given them FTL all
Almost
at once.
Everyone.
Almost.
You can also find small primitive empires. But let's show the galaxy as well.
Yeah. So while we're in the pause menu, we can see the size of the galaxy. Each tiny dot is a system that you can explore, go into, and some of them will obviously already have alien inhabitants.
The first thing, I guess, like if you're used to the PC version, the first thing that's going to stand out is probably how everything has moved to one side of the screen. So you have the menus to the left, the outliner, which is on the right as always, and the resource bar at the top. And then now the notifications are down here.
Right. So we've moved everything as much as possible to kind of keep it accessible from the D-pad. So hitting left on the D-pad will get to your Empire management menus. This is where you're actually going to manage your Empire. And then on the right-hand side, you've got the outliner, which is a really quick overview of your empire. So you can see your planets, you can see your fleets, you can see the different civilian ships like science and construction, and it gives you a very good and quick view of everything within your empire. Especially as you start to grow, you need that kind of quick overview. Why is the UI again so giant? So the idea behind that is, I guess you could answer this better than I can, but with it being on console and made for TV gaming,
you're going to be further away from the TV than you are from a PC monitor, right?
Right. I mean, right now we're pretty close. Which is fine.
Yeah, it still looks good.
But yeah, the idea is to give it that readability. The icons were completely remade, weren't they? I mean, think I remember
remade. In a sense, yes. What they were done is like because of the icons being so small on the PC, what Tantalus has done is scale them up and then retouch them to actually
just to make sure it's high
res.
But so those have been given a really good rework to fit with this new UI. So it's not just a case of,
and it looks very pretty,
right? It's not just a case of making it work with the controller, it's also making the UI and the UX design behind it really work with being on this upscaled interface.
Part of what makes it replayable. It's this technology system, the way it works is that you won't always get, for example, these three choices in physics when you start a game. There are many different weights in the game that makes the technology system a bit randomized. Then you have rare texts that have an even lower percentage chance of appearing.
Right.
So every time you play, you are going to have different choices to make. You are going to have different scientists. So, for example, you can see that my scientists have traits, and I'm lucky in that my society scientist has the genius trait, which is very good. Like I said, I'm going for a more militaristic approach, so I want to get better ships as soon as possible. But maybe you want ion thrusters because you want to explore quicker, because I don't know. So now I sent my construction ship to start building a mining station here, so that we can get these resources.
So on the PC version, you can obviously queue up all of your exploration tasks and moves. How is that achieved on console here.
Oh yeah, like queuing up stuff
'Cause-
is almost easier here than it is on PC. If I'm gonna be honest, I mean,
So you
So-
hit the X button to chain order, and then you can just select from the context menu
Yeah,
straight
exactly.
there.
yeah, like I
It
said,
was
like this is
insane.
not a game you wanna like just dip your toes into, like
Yeah,
because this is a grand strategy. Like this is something that we expect people to put tens, 50 or hundreds of hours into.
Yeah.
Like,
Like-
there's gonna be a lot of hours.
each play session, you could find yourself putting 4 or 5 hours easily into what would be considered a short play session.
Not to scare anyone away. I mean, you should.
But it's kind of
Still
that
try it.
really immersive experience with Stellaris
Yeah.
that I think is a huge draw. Like some of the tiles already have, like at the very bottom, like that one there, obviously gives you energy and minerals, but then you have to make the choice what type of building you put there and which kind of resource you exploit. So there's that kind of choice
Oh
involved.
yeah, absolutely. So the reason I started clearing this is because I wanna build a little mining network, for example.
Yeah.
And if you build the same resource on the same resource tile, then of
You
course
get
you
a
get
nice
that
little
resource.
bump extra.
Like if I would to do this, I would actually lose that mineral. But
Right,
I mean, PC users are gonna be used to like
just clicking on the
just
portrait.
clicking on the portrait.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't really click on portraits on the console, so it's just been moved to its own separate
Yeah,
button here.
So you tab across to the manage tab,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
it's like just one down.
Yeah, and then you can just do whatever you want. Another thing that makes Stellaris replayable, the precursors. There's a few like empires that have disappeared
That came
long
before,
ago.
yeah.
Exactly. There's a few of them, and you know, it's something to keep playing to find them all. Sort of all these events that pop up and have their own sort of story.
Yeah.
And the precursors are one of those types of stories that are also pretty long. So you follow this whole chain.
Yeah,
to try and understand
and it's,
what
it's
happened
not
to
something
this
that you're just
empire.
going to complete in like 5 years of in-game time, right? This is stuff that could span on for quite a while.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So this is a thing that makes Stellaris so replayable.
This is going to get old.
Yeah, I
but,
know, right? I think Chad is gonna
not
get
yet.
upset with me. No. So in Stellaris, as you're exploring, because you don't know this galaxy, right? Like, look at this. I know nothing about this galaxy. There can be things happening that I won't have any idea about. So as you've sent your science ship out to explore, you have these small chances of getting what we call anomalies, which are sort of there's something's happening in or around
Yeah.
this planet.
And these anomalies, they're so wide and varied as
Oh, yeah.
well. Like throughout, like you could have one that is very very simple and based on one scientific thing, or you could have one that is like, we found a pony on a place.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they can be very small, they can be very big, and they're gonna have like, you can see this is like a level 1 anomaly, which means that it's a very basic one. It's not gonna be difficult to understand what's going on here. So I mean, we can just go and research it right now and see what happens. And what this does is that it sends your science ship to research it.
Yeah.
Which means that you have to sort of pause the exploration part of the whole thing.
Right.
I'm one of the people who's probably been on Stellaris the longest, until I now switch projects, I suppose.
But we can't talk about.
Yeah, we can't talk about that. But I mean, I was on Stellaris for maybe 4 years. I started as a QA before I became an associate producer,
Yeah.
and I've just been on this project for so
Yeah.
long that I just know it inside and out. I like to talk about this story, but some people have asked me that it's like I'm just showing my age. I played Red Alert on PlayStation 1, and I remember how horrible it was.
Yeah.
And from that point, I was like, strategy will never work on console.
And then we've done it.
Yeah, we've done it. Like I don't know if people have been paying attention or not, but I'm barely even looking at the controller. I know what I'm doing. Like
Yeah, and
it doesn't take too long.
this is something that you'll pick up. I mean, especially if you're someone who plays with the controller a lot, and you know where the buttons generally are. You don't
Yeah.
even need to look at this.
No, you don't. Like I'm very comfortable with this. I could really like imagine myself sitting in a sofa
Yeah.
just playing this. But I wanted to talk about another thing that makes Stellaris replayable. I'm forcing this down
You're really overdoing this now, right?
Yeah, I know. So these are the traditions, yet another way to sort of customize your empire and play the way you want to play. I'm not going to go too deep into what they mean, but you can sort of guess from the categories that they have. So the way you get traditions is through a resource called Unity.
Discovery makes your exploration and surveys of different systems a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Especially if you keep going through that tree, it's
Amazing.
kind of one of the favorite early game ones.
Yeah, I like to go for expansion, but we can show the discovery and because I mean that's just me. Like I said, everyone.
I mean,
plays.
difference of opinion,
Yeah,
but I'm wrong.
But you're wrong.
Okay.
No, you're actually not very wrong. Discovery is a great one to start with.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like you said, you have an adoption. So you first have to adopt that sort of category
before you can even go down into the trees, right?
Yeah. So once you've adopted a category, then you can start going into the trees, and you know the trees, they work like any other trees in any other game. So you have to get this one before that one.
Yeah, for sure.
And so on.
And each one along the right-hand side, because obviously tooltips. Is a huge part of the PC version. Tooltips give so much information. Without being able to do that, we've put everything kind of to the right hand side, so you've got the information still on screen, and it's still an important feature to always kind of read through and make sure you're making the right choice.
I'm losing money,
but you're only losing like just
0.
enough, 0 point something, right?
Oh yeah, my research isn't done yet, so I can't. Only 2 months remaining, so we can run at a loss for 2 more months. It's fine. It's fine. That's how you run companies, right?
How is the regular outliner working?
Regular as in this outliner?
As in, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it works just the same as on the PC, right? Like it exists. I've hidden it now because I like just looking at Stellaris.
It's a beautiful game just to stare at for a while as well.
But like you can make it permanently show, and then it will work as any other like outliner.
So from there you can select your planet, you can select your fleet, you can even sorry, if you can slow down just a second.
Sorry, yeah.
you're just in pilot mode.
Yeah.
But like from here you can select your fleet, you can zoom the camera onto your fleets. Same with your science ships, and you've got these rally points where, you know, when you create a new fleet or something like that, it will add to that rally point, much like people are used to in you know, RTSs and strategy games in general. So yeah, we just had a very strange visitor come through the door. Fred Wester himself. We want to keep showing this game, but I think we're going to be kicked out of here soon.
Oh, that was quick.
Any final words to the stream with the first look at Stellaris Console Edition?
I hope you'll keep an open mind, is what I'll say. I know there's a lot of what do you call it? Doubt, I suppose.
Yeah.
But just keep an open mind, and
doubt is
if you get the
we
chance
face.
to try it,
it's something that we face. People say that it can't be done. Even seeing it on the screen right now, they say it just can't be done. You're faking this.
You're faking.
We are not, and I think it's a great achievement. So we'll be back again next week with more streams.
And hopefully we'll run into another empire at the next stream.
If Aziz can't make it, I will make sure that we continue the empire whose name I can't even remember. Yogolwa.
The Jogolva League.
Yeah. But again, thank you everyone for coming along, joining us, and having a look at Stellaris for the first time from our studios.
From our studio.
And I hope it's been a good kind of show for everyone to see Stellaris Console Edition in action. And we'll see you next week.
Yep.
Anyway, bye.
See ya.